Hi students, 12th Standard Accountancy, Chapter-3, Illustration-5. Mannan and Ramesh share profits and losses in the ratio of 3:1. The capital on 1st April 2017 was 18,000 rupees for Mannan and 60,000 rupees for Ramesh. And their current accounts show a credit balances of 10,000 rupees and 50,000 rupees respectively. Calculate interest on capital at 5% per annum for the year ending 31st March 2018 and show the journal entries. So from this information, what we have to do, we are going to find out, calculate interest on capital 5% for Mannan and Ramesh. Okay, and also we have to post the journal entry. We have to pause the journal entry. Okay, so listen. For interest on capital, we know about the capital for Mannan and Ramesh. The capital on 1st April 2018, Mannan is 80,000 rupees and Ramesh has 60,000 rupees. Listen, the rest of the transaction, that means the current account, they have balances 10,000, 5,000 respectively. We need not consider about the current account. Why? Because we are going to prepare the interest on capital. From the capital, we are going to find out the interest. So where is the capital? Mannan's capital is 80,000 rupees and Ramesh capital is 60,000 rupees. So further, so we have to take to find out the interest on capital is to be calculated on capital at the beginning of the year only. Okay, if there is any current account they have given, the additional information they have given, that means additional capital introduced or capital withdrawn during the year, it will cause changes in the capital to find out the interest on capital. So for that, we don't consider about the current account adjustment to prepare the interest on capital. See, you have to only take capital account for Ramesh and Mannan, okay, to find out the interest on capital. Okay, what is the format for the interest on capital to find out interest on capital? The interest on capital format is amount of capital into rate of interest per annum into period of interest. The amount of capital they have given here, Mannan's capital is 80,000 rupees and Ramesh capital is 60,000 rupees, right? And the rate of into rate of interest per annum. What is the rate of interest they have given here? 5% per annum. This is the rate of interest. So now we are going to calculate the interest on capital for Mannan and Ramesh. Okay, first we have to write the heading, that is calculation of the interest on capital. You should write the format for the interest on capital. What is the format? Interest on capital equal to amount of capital into rate of interest. Okay, so to find out the interest on capital, the amount of capital, first let's take the interest on capital for Mannan's. Okay, so the amount of capital, Mannan's amount of capital is 80,000 rupees into rate of interest is 5%. 5% per annum means 5 by 100. Okay, so we have to cancel it now. 0 is to be cancelled. Remaining 5 into 800. 5 8s are 40. 20 is to be added here. So 4,000 rupees for interest for Mannan's capital. So Mannan's interest on capital is 4,000 rupees. Then interest on capital for Ramesh. Ramesh capital is 60,000 rupees. What is the format for interest on capital? Amount of capital into rate of interest. So amount of capital for Ramesh is 60,000 rupees. Rate of interest is 5% per annum. That means 5 by 100. Then now we are going to cancel it. 0 is to be cancelled. 20 cancelled. Remaining 600 into 5. 5 6 are 30. Remaining this 20 is to be added here. So 3,000 rupees interest on capital for Ramesh. Now we are going to find out the total interest on capital. So for that we have to add this both amount for in both interest on capital for Mannan and Ramesh. 4,000 plus 3,000, you will get 7,000 rupees. Why? Because we are going to pass the journal entry. Okay, for this 7,000 rupees interest on capital. Okay, listen, they have give the hint here. The balance current account will not be considered for calculation of the interest on capital. Okay, so we need not consider about the current account to find out the interest on capital. Okay, so what's the journal entry for interest on capital? Listen, Before that, what is the journal entry for capital account, cash account debtor? If you contribute the capital or you invest the capital into your business, cash account debtor to capital account. Okay, so in reverse, where is capital account? Capital account is on credit side, right? So how will you post the interest on capital? If the capital is on credit side, the interest on capital is to be debit side. Do you got it? So where is capital? Capital partners capital is on credit side. So the journal entry is interest on debit side. In opposite side you have to write interest on capital. From the capital you find out the interest, right? So interest on capital account debtor to partners capital or partners current account. This is the journal entry for interest on capital. Then we have to close the interest on capital. So to closing the interest on capital, you have to write where is interest on capital, where is interest on capital is on debit side. To close it, you have to enter it on credit side. Do you got it? The journal entry for interest on capital is interest on capital account debtor to partners capital account, right? So if you transfer it or if you close the interest on capital, in reverse order you have, in opposite you have to enter it. If the interest on capital is on, as per the format, interest on capital is on debit side, so it will be goes to credit side for closing the interest on capital. On debit side you have to write profit and loss appropriation account debtor to interest on capital. Got it? Okay. Now we are going to pass the journal entry for the Mannan's and Ramesh interest on capital. Okay. The total interest on capital is 7,000 rupees. The total interest on capital is 7,000 rupees. So where is interest on capital? As per the format, interest on capital is on debtor side. Okay. So interest on capital account debtor 7,000 rupees to Mannan's current account 4,000 rupees. This is Mannan's interest on capital, and Ramesh interest on capital 3,000 rupees. Okay. Interest on capital provided, dated they have given here 31st March 2018. You have to enter it on date column. Okay. Then you have to pass the journal entry for closing the interest on capital or transfer the interest on capital. To transfer the interest on capital, here interest on capital is on debit side. If you transfer it, how do you, where you, it will be appear? It will be appear on credit side, right? So on debit side you have to write profit and loss appropriation account debtor to interest on capital account 7,000 rupees. Okay, interest on capital closed same date you have to enter here, that means 2018 March 31. Do you have any doubt? Please comment it on the comment box. Thank you. Take care.